Hey everyone, hi everyone. Oh god, I've forgotten how to do this, haven't I? You may notice I am once again in a slightly different place. Actually, this isn't just a slightly different place, this is a very different place. I am currently in my childhood bedroom in my parents' house in South Yorkshire. This room here was my first ever bedroom. It was my room for the first 18 years of my life, and it's still where I sleep when I come back and visit my parents. It's got a lot less of my stuff in it now, but it still has a few old bits, and it's got a lot more of other people's stuff in it that is being stored. And the wardrobes are currently full of my parents' clothes. So a lot has changed, but it's still here if I ever want to come back up to Yorkshire, which I don't often want to. That sounds horrible. No, I appreciate my parents for leaving this here for me and letting it be here anytime I need it. It's just being back up in Penistone and South Yorkshire always brings out the anxiety. It's never the most fun time for me. It makes me nervous and worried, and I'm always scared about bumping into people that I went to school with, and I'm worried that if I do bump into them, they're going to make fun of me again and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's not just a worry, that stuff actually happens around here. I remember the first Christmas I had brought Dan up here, me, him and my sister went to the pub with her then wife and some of her family, and a bunch of local people started making fun of me and Dan for our accents and the fact that we lived in London and this, and I don't know, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, the point is, I'm back in Penistone and I was getting nervous being up here. I'm not the biggest fan of the place, but I thought this would be a cute opportunity to kind of show you a few old memories from my childhood and show you a few things that I've collected from around my old bedroom to kind of share with you guys. The first thing I want to show you is an old framed photo that I'm really proud of. So I know it just looks like a flower, and it is just a flower. But I remember I took this photo in Scarborough when my brother was living up there, and it was in these really nice gardens we went to, and I was so proud of the photo and I really, really liked it. This was when I first started seriously getting into photography, and I entered this into Penistone Show, which is this like annual show, and they have like farm animals and competitions, and there's like baking contests and vegetable growing competitions and craft competitions and stuff like that. And this year I decided to enter a photo into the under 16s photo competition, and I won first place. And I was so proud and so happy, because like I said, that's when I first started getting into photography, and winning first prize with this photo just kind of almost like validated me a little bit and made me think, you know what, this could be a good thing for me, this is something I'm good at, this is something I can be proud of. And it just kind of fueled my love and passion even further, to the point where, you know, potentially without this photo and win this prize, maybe I wouldn't be here in front of the camera today, who knows. The other things are mostly kind of like books and magazines, but before we get into that, I'm going to show you probably one of the most special things that I own. And this is my old dog Jasper's collar, and so I still keep this, and I still love it. And it still smells of him a bit, because he had a bit of a skin condition, was a little bit smelly at times, but I keep this because I loved him so much. Jasper was like my little brother, and I loved him to bits. He was a gorgeous cocker spaniel, and he was the softest dog you'll ever meet. He was such a friendly little boy. So I always made sure to buy him collars with little studs on to make him look like tough, like a little tough boy, because he was not tough, and he wouldn't hurt a fly, and he was so like lazy and cuddly, and I loved him to bits, which is why like the little like studded collar was such a contrast to his actual personality that I just kind of like had to buy it for the joke. This is his collar, and it's something that I'm probably always going to keep, and it's always going to be special to me, because Jasper was my boy and he was my first dog, and you know, a girl never forgets her first dog. I feel like if Kyrouac and Jasper had met, they would have been best friends. I would love to see that. They would love each other. I always tell her about her uncle Jasper. And another thing I want to share with you guys are some of my books, and I have a big thing for like collecting old annuals, and I love these. I would spend hours. So I got my first job at 14, and it wasn't in a lot of money. It was in a pharmacy and a photo lab, and I loved it. But one of the things I used to do with the little bits of money that I would earn sometimes is I would save them up, and I would go and hunt around charity shops and book fairs and second-hand markets, and on eBay and stuff like that. And I would pick up really old books and annuals really cheap because I loved them. And the ones I would mainly collect were Rupert and Bunty and Twinkle. And I've got some of my old Rupert and Bunties to show you here. Bunty was an old kind of like magazine for girls, and I think it started in maybe the 50s or 60s. So these ones that I have here are some of the very earliest annuals that they made, and I absolutely love them. And they're full of like the cutest stories, and the old ones had like really cool like drawing and just like drawing style and stuff like that, and they would have like plants and things, and I absolutely loved it. The stories were great, the art was great. I don't know, there's something about these old annuals that is so special to me, and I love seeing the change in style over the years as well. So those ones I think were like 50s or 60s. I've got one here from 76, so you can already see as time's gone on, the style's changed a little bit more and a little bit more. And then there's a few others. They're in a big pile down here, so I don't want to get them out too much. But actually, no, I will. You know what? Yeah, let's do it. So I've got some 80s annuals. They're right down at the bottom. I can't quite get. But then you get to like the 90s and the 2000s. And this is where things really start to change. And you start to see them using like a lot more photos and stuff. And they'd be like cute animals. Some of the stories were still featuring the same characters, which I loved. So you'd have like the Four Marys and the Comp, but then in these ones you would also have more like photo stories and stuff. It was cute. They were all like adorable, and they would have like written stories but also drawn stories, and again even some of these were the same art style, just kind of like carried on. So I love kind of like seeing the growth over the years, and there's something about like collecting these old annuals that I adored. And I think it started with like my mum or my auntie bought me one of the like, I don't know, I must have been about like 10 or 11, so maybe like a 2003 annual. And then from there, I just started collecting tons of ones over the years. And I must have about 20 different ones now that I picked up from loads of different places, only for like about £1 or £2 each. Oh, this one's from 71. Again, this is one of my older ones, and I love it. It's so good. Other than Bunty, I also collect Twinkle ones, which was like a comic I used to read back when I was probably like 5 or 6, maybe younger. And so I, again, collected all the annuals for them as well. And then another one was Rupert. And Rupert annuals I would get for Christmas every single year, up to maybe being around 15 or 16, I think. And I should get them myself now, actually, shouldn't I? I would love that so much. But I have some really old Rupert annuals here. These ones, the dates are often really hard to find on them, so you have to do a little bit of research. This one I know is 1975, so I imagine these ones are also probably around 70s. I love these Rupert annuals, and I love seeing the kind of art style change and adapt over the years. But Rupert has definitely been a lot more consistent than the others. You always know what to expect with the Rupert annuals. You get the 8 panels of drawings with little rhyming couplets underneath. You get the story, and you get several stories in an annual. And I love the stories. They're always so magical. Some of them are more like kind of normal, and it's about like Rupert helping his friends around the forest and stuff. Others are more magical, and they go on adventures, and they go to the clouds, or I don't know, all sorts of stuff. And there's magic or dragons or monsters and stuff like that. This one has a talking scarecrow. There's just so many different things with Rupert, and I absolutely love it. Watching the Rupert cartoons was one of my favourite things as a kid. Reading the Rupert stories, collecting the Rupert stories, it's just something so special to me. And that's why I still love these books so much. And every time I'm at my parents' house, I always have to look through them and read through them. And it reminds me of like some of the happiest bits of my childhood. I love these so much. I can't wait until I can actually manage to take them all down home to London with me and have them in the flat with me. It's just, you know, lots of heavy books, quite difficult to transport when I'm on the train with just one suitcase in Cairo, but we'll get there eventually, won't we? And the last thing I want to share with you are some old comics and magazines that I found. So I used to collect 2 or I guess kind of maybe 3 kinds of comics when I was younger. One of them was the more recent one, and that was the Discover the World with Barbie comics. I loved these. So my mum would always get a subscription, so we would get them cheap, and we would have them like turn up at the local newsagents at the top of the street every week, and I loved these so much. And I think these magazines are part of why I want to travel so much now that I'm older. Let's pick a random one. Oh, let's go Denmark, because we had the statue of the Little Mermaid on the front, and you know I've spoken about the Little Mermaid in videos before. But these were great because what I loved about the magazine is everyone would come with a Barbie like outfit for your Barbie dolls. And one of the big things I love to do is I love collecting Barbie dolls. And I would often go to Barnsley Market with my mum and like try and find secondhand Barbie dolls for like really cheap. And sometimes they were in a bit of a state, so you need to give them a bit of a love, a bit of a wash, and you have to like brush their hair and stuff, or like even try and like shampoo their hair a little bit to clean it and like bring them back to kind of like a good playable state. But I had so many of these cheap secondhand Barbie dolls, and also a few new Barbie dolls of my own and stuff like that. And yeah, the magazines would give you these amazing kind of traditional outfits for the dolls. All sorts of different things, not only like dresses, but like, look, the one for Turkey, beautiful. So I had all these amazing ones, and in the magazine, it would tell you about the outfit and why it was like that, and then you'd go through, and it would tell you about all the cool things about like the country. There's a different country every week, and it was amazing, and I loved this. And it always made me want to travel to so many different places around the world. And so I still keep these magazines, and I still have a big box of all the Barbie outfits and like the clothes and stuff that I got with the magazines, and they are some of the most beautiful things, and I absolutely adore them, and I'm so glad that I've kept these, because again, one of the kind of happiest parts of my childhood was reading these and playing with the dolls and dressing them up, and yeah, it was great. And then finally, one of my favourite things I own, again, a magazine, I own the big full collections of the Where's Wally magazines. I love these so much. So you have Wally's History of the World and Wally's World. Obviously this was history focused, this was geography focused, and each one would focus on either a different country or a different kind of character from history or an era from history, and you would go through and it would be amazing. I still remember, like, because back when I was really tiny, I used to have to share this bedroom with my parents. My sister and grandma would be in the bedroom next door, and then my brother had the tiny little box bedroom, and then when my granny was ill, she would have the front room downstairs to sleep in, and that would be her bedroom. For a while, I didn't even have my own bed, and I had to share the bed with my parents. So me and my mum would sit on the bed, and we would go through these magazines, and we would read them together, and we would read the stories, and we would do all the puzzles and stuff, and play the games. And it was just, again, they're some of my favourite memories. I absolutely love them. So let's take one as an example. Where African safari. Oh, this one's gonna have animals. Yes. I feel like a kid again. I love this. So these magazines were amazing, and they had this gorgeous art style to them, and I absolutely loved them. And so you'd always open up and it would have like a map, and it would tell you, so these were the geography ones. These were Wally's World. It would tell you like the geography of the area. It would show you pictures of animals lived there and stuff. And then each magazine, it would give you these little like pictures that you had to find throughout the magazine. And they could be anywhere, which meant you always had to read everything really carefully because you were always looking for the hidden objects as well. And it would go through, and it would tell you things about like discoveries that had been made there. It would tell you about like the animals that lived there and stuff, and there were always puzzles as well. It would go through and like, this is zebras. This one's quite a animal heavy one because, you know, African safari. But I loved it. I love animals. Again, this might be where my love of animals came from. And then you would always have in the middle of the magazine these amazing big cartoon spreads, and it would give you like a list of things to find. And so in all of them you had to find like Wally, and I think Woof might have been hidden as well, I'm not sure. So you have to find Wally, there he is. And they would give you a big list of things to find as well. So I remember me and my mum would like have little competitions to see who could find the things first. It would give you little cartoon stories, like always set in the country, or like talking about something that happened in the country. Yeah, so this would be like things about the landscape and stuff, and it would give you actual like stories featuring Wally and his friends. And then at the end there would always be puzzles, and on the back there would be so in Wally's World it was a true or false quiz. In the History of the World ones, it was like a proper quiz, and I still love doing these with my mum. So, issue 1 was on cavemen. So on the back there would be like a proper quiz, And it would always be based on like the stuff in the magazine. So like the cavemen one, you can see like this one starts out and you've got like the little timeline and the map and stuff like that. I'm trying to make sure this is on camera. You've got the pictures that you have to find in the magazine. And then it would go through stuff about caves and cave paintings. This is called Woolly Mammoths. And then again, you've got the little like cartoony spreads where you have to find stuff. And then you would have like cartoons of like, not like cartoons, but like little mini comic strips. That's what I'm looking for. Comic is the word. Of like cool things that happened relating to history stuff. I remember this is how I first found out about like ancient Egypt stuff. And the Egypt one, I think, that was how I first found out about like Tutankhamun and his tomb and stuff like that from one of these magazines. And it's something that I've always found really, really interesting. And as I've grown up, I've read like more books on and got really into and stuff. And I actually, when I lived in Oxford, went to see the Discovering Tutankhamun's Tomb exhibit at the, what's it called, the Sheldonian one? Basically, I went to the exhibit on Discovering Tutankhamun's Tomb there. Amazing. It was so good. Like I say, you got stuff on the first farmers, and then you have stories and stuff. And story, you got Woof, being a good boy. And then you'd have puzzles, and again, I remember me and my mum doing all of these together and reading through everything, and then at the end you would have a quiz. And so me and my mum would always like do the quiz together and see who could score more points. I remember they were only about, what was it, something like £1 each when you got the subscription, something like that. So it wasn't a huge amount, but it was, you know, a fair amount for my family at the time. But it was, I don't know, it was like my special treat, and it was something I was really looked forward to and really treasured. And I'd keep them all in their like little folders. It always came with like sticker albums as well, and it was, so much fun, like I say. These were some of like the best bits of my childhood. I'm so happy I kept all these things. Like, they're really, really special to me. I really love them. And then I got older and everything kind of went to crap, didn't it? Anyway, I don't know, I'm still trying to like get back into making videos and sorting my life out and stuff. And I think I am ready to get back to work. I've been working on a lot of like scripts and research while I've been up here. I'm feeling quite good about it, so see how that goes. But yeah, I guess I just wanted, I don't know, to share a little part of my history and my background and my childhood with you guys. And I don't know, just share a little part of me, I guess. If you want to kind of like be a part of the conversation and get involved, I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments what your kind of favourite childhood memories and books and things like that are. Do you keep anything from when you were a kid that you still have that's like kind of special to you that you like to look back over? Whether it be like books or magazines like this, or photos like I have, or something special like Jasper's collar. Let me know down in the comments what your special childhood memories are and things like that. But for now, thank you for watching. I'll be back to the kind of regular, I guess more like educational style videos very soon when I get home. Thanks for sticking with me, and thanks for watching this today, and thanks for just being amazing generally. I really appreciate you guys, and hopefully I will see you again soon.